So in this lesson, we are going to learn how to control a LED strip with our microbit. To get started, what we're going to need is we're going to need our Grove shield, we're going to need a microbit, we're going to need an LED strip, and we're going to need a micro USB cable. Our first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to go to our makecode.microbit.org site. We're going to click on New Project. It will bring up a new window that will have our simulator on the left, our series of commands in the center, and then our programming area on the right. Since we are going to be controlling a LED strip, one of the first things we're going to need to do is let's load our extension for our LED strip. So we're going to click on Advanced, and we're going to go down to Extensions, and we're going to load the NeoPixel package. If you don't see NeoPixel in the icons that pop up, you can always type the word NeoPixel in the search toolbar, and it should show up as being one of the first hits. And there it is right over there on the first. So you just click on it. It's now going to load in that extension, which is basically a library. It's going to give us a set of commands so we can control our LED strip. And you should see a new block that says NeoPixel. So one of the first things that we need to do is the microbit doesn't know that it will have an LED strip attached to it until we tell it. So if we click on our NeoPixel, we're going to get a whole series of new block commands. And notice the very top block where it says set strip. The NeoPixel extension automatically creates a variable called strip. So we now can call our LED strip simply strip. And we're going to set it at pin P0, which means that we're going to need to make sure we plug it into the right pin number or port. And how many LEDs? Most of the LEDs that we're going to play around with has 30. So what we'll do is we can double click on it or drag it to our window. And so now I've got it in my program window. It has to go in the on start block, because that's going to initialize or tell the microbit that now it has an LED strip attached to it, and that LED strip should be plugged into port P0. So let's plug it right into our Grove shield, and remember the Grove shields are all labeled, and so P0 is the one right next to the I2C port. Now let's program our LED strip. So that's really the only thing we need in an on start block. Now if we want to go to our forever block, we can click on our NeoPixel again, and let's imagine that I want to show my strip color to be red. Then let's say I want it to be blue. So I can just grab my strip show color block, and notice there's a drop down menu there, and it will give you the different colors. So I'm going to pick blue for my second one. And notice your simulator will show you what's going on. One of the challenges that you're going to run into is that the microbit is fast, and so this will blink back and forth between red so fast that you won't be able to tell it. So what you'll have to do is put in a pause statement, which is under our basic menu. You'll grab the pause block, and you're going to drag that over and put it right in between them. And I'm going to set it to 1 second. And I'm going to put another one at the bottom, because remember, this is going to run linearly. So it's going to run strip show red, pause for a second, show blue, then it's going to do the red one again really fast. And so if you right click, you'll get the duplicate command, or on your keyboard you can do Control C. I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to drag it right underneath my red and blue. And then you'll see on our simulator that you'll see that it can go back and forth between red and blue. When you're done, you can save it. So I'm just going to save this one as red and blue. Save it. Okay. And there it's now saving it. It should save it into your downloads folder. Okay. Now, next step that we have to do is we have to plug in our microbit. Okay. So now let's plug in our microbit. Or USB, and remember, you've got a little light on the back that's yellow, so if it powers up and everything's good, that will be a solid yellow. And you should have a window that pops up. It's going to have two files in it. It's going to call details and microbit. And once you've saved it and you've found your downloads folder, you should be able to have a folder that's got microbit dash the name that you saved it as. And anytime you save it, it's going to put microbit in front of it so you know that it is a microbit file. And the end extension is .hex files. So we're going to just drag that right over to our microbit. So our red and blue file. And notice our yellow light's blinking. When it's done blinking, that means the program has finished transferring. Okay. So now I'm all blinked. Now, there's one trick that we're going to do over and over again with our microbit, is the microbit itself will only push about 90 amps of current, which is sometimes a lot when we're powering an LED, particularly if we have another LED or other sensors attached to our microbit. So we're going to unplug our microbit, and it's going to get plugged into our Grove Shield. And the Grove Shield has a power port on it, and we're always going to power our microbit through the Grove Shield. This also means we won't damage or burn out the microbit as we push more current through it, because eventually we will have all 4 of the Grove Shield ports operational. We're going to plug it in. Okay. And make sure it's firmly in there. And you should have 2 green lights that come on saying it's getting power. And notice my LED strip is red and blue. So now when you're ready to reprogram it, it's easy to just take out your microbit, and you can unplug the USB from your Grove Shield, and then you can plug your microbit right back into your computer. This is going to be really useful when we begin to attach our Grove Shield to other components like the greenhouse, because then we can just take out the microbit itself and program it and then insert it back into our Grove Shield, which will make transferring programs and editing programs a lot easier.